Tonight on KGW News, the man accused of shooting out traffic cameras heads to court as police reveal how they got one step ahead. Plus,
and sometimes even the best isn't good enough.
The search for what went wrong inside a Gresham home that left a firefighter with burns to nearly half his body. Then a major move tonight from Newburgh School Board to try to get its budget under control. And later, public art turned to neighborhood nuisance.
Do people use drugs here? Yes.
Why many in Old Town say they never wanted the sculptures in the first place. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Mulca. We begin at 11 with new action from the Newburgh School Board, which is nearly $4 million in debt. Tonight, leaders announced they are appointing an interim superintendent to try and sort out some of the problems. The current superintendent, Stephen Phillips, is apparently taking leave now for 2 months, though it's not clear yet exactly who made that decision. Parents had been calling for his resignation, putting much of the blame for the budget crisis on him. The board tonight deciding to appoint a former superintendent for the district, Dr. Paula Radish, to the position. While he's out, they also passed a resolution notifying the teachers union that layoffs will be necessary. It was clear from some of the board members' comments tonight, this is not a decision they take lightly.
I am sorry to those who will be losing their jobs. This was not your fault.
I didn't want people to lose their jobs. Many of you know this has impacted us already, my family, and I don't wish it upon anybody else.
We hear your voice, and I really hope that we can be patient with each other and work towards unity and harmony in the community of Newburgh.
Yeah, really tough meeting there. Board members discussed cutting roughly 60 positions next school year, though that has not been finalized. The interim superintendent, by the way, has agreed to cover the position for free. You can imagine that is a relief for the school board. Also tonight, the Portland Public School Board made a decision to adopt next year's budget, which includes $30 million in cuts. That includes roughly 250 positions. This comes after the board made a major budget amendment last month, which moved $1.8 million from the district's reserve fund back into the racial equity and social justice contract budget. Without the amendment, budget cuts would have threatened after-school programs. And in Salem-Keizer, school board members also adopted next year's budget with a vote of 6-1. It includes some $70 million in cuts, which means the loss of around 400 positions. Educators and staff impacted have already been notified. Developing now in Vancouver, people living in more than a dozen apartments are without a home this evening after a fire badly damaged their building in the Hazel Dell neighborhood. Alma McCarty has the latest.
Luckily, no one was injured in the fire that burned through several of the Erica Village apartments Tuesday evening. Crews spent an hour working to get the flames under control. Here's a look at the aftermath off Northeast 105th Street. According to the battalion chief with Clark County Fire District 6, the fire started on the second floor. We've heard from some neighbors. They believe it started on a back porch. From there, the fire spread up to the attic and then through the roof. Wind was a factor, making it more difficult for firefighters to battle the flames. Although the fire didn't spread to all the apartments, firefighters say everyone living here had to relocate for the time being due to water damage and no power. That impacts 18 apartments.
The fire didn't make it into mine, but it's next to the unit that had fire, so I'm just hoping to get my cat out of there and hopefully it's okay. And I got to find housing and all this stuff because I don't think we'll have a place to stay for a while. But I imagine it'll probably be a month or more, I imagine. I mean, look at the size of the fire.
The Red Cross was on site talking to people and helping them figure out next steps. No word yet on the official cause of this fire. Back to you.
Thanks to Alma for that. Firefighters say there are no reports of injuries after a crash involving a TriMet bus in Northeast Portland this evening. This was on Vancouver Way off MLK Boulevard. The bus went off the road and then hit the side of an engine repair shop. Firefighters report both a car and the bus were damaged in the crash, though it is not clear exactly what went wrong. We've reached out to TriMet for more information. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines now, a Vancouver teenager who police say disappeared under suspicious circumstances earlier today has now been found. 16-year-old Crystal Anderson was last seen at the Vancouver Mall. Her mother found her phone outside early this afternoon. Police say a, quote, observant citizen helped out, and Crystal is now safe. The driver charged with stealing a truck tractor and leading police on a chase from Portland to Vancouver made his first court appearance today. 39-year-old Jesus Meza Sanchez didn't say much as prosecutors laid out what appeared to be a lengthy criminal history. Authorities say Meza Sanchez allegedly drove the truck into two sheriff's vehicles on Monday morning, then led authorities on a chase across the Columbia, temporarily shutting down I-205. Bail was set at $200,000, with a judge ordering GPS monitoring. The suspect is due back in court later this month. And for the first time in American history, the son or daughter of a sitting U.S. president has been convicted of a federal crime. A jury, which deliberated only 3 hours, found Hunter Biden guilty of all 3 felony charges. Prosecutors say he lied on a gun purchase form when he said he wasn't illegally using or addicted to drugs, and then illegally possessed that firearm for 11 days. The judge has not set a sentencing date. It is unclear if Hunter Biden will get jail time. By the way, he also faces tax evasion charges in California in a case that is set for trial in September. We are following up this evening on the driver accused of firing shots at more than a dozen traffic cameras in the Rose City. And after we showed you this surveillance video of the suspect in southeast Portland, police say they managed to get one step ahead. And as Thomas Schultz explains, when it comes to motive, it appears this suspect has a history of speeding.
Your Honor, the next matter is going to be page 27, line 2, Grijalva versus Chase.
After Portland police searched for weeks for someone shooting at traffic cameras, they arrested 28-year-old Chase Grijalva Monday. He's accused of damaging 17 traffic cameras and leaving many riddled with bullet holes.
Anytime you discharge a firearm within city limits, really anywhere, somebody can get injured.
Since May 27th, police have looked for the shooter in this video, suspected to be Grijalva, who exits his car, walks over to a red light camera, and shoots at it 3 times.
I can't believe it.
Disturbing Southeast residents.
Portland's just getting out of hand.
The spree continued Monday when police say Grijalva shot cameras midday at Stark and Southeast 122nd and 148th, creating more than $500,000 worth of damage overall.
This area has gotten rougher and crazier.
And this comes after Grijalva racked up 4 speeding tickets in less than 3 months.
Oh, I bet that guy was angry about getting the ticket.
Though after Monday's shootings, police got ahead of Grijalva by predicting which camera he'd target next.
Officers determined this could be the individual they've been looking for, so they started thinking outside the box and they tried to figure out where he might be going next, and they basically intercepted him.
And when arresting Grijalva, police say that he reached toward his waistband, so they used force. And in court today, you could see that he had bruising below both of his eyes. Now, there's going to be a hearing tomorrow as well to determine if Grijalva should be kept in jail or can be released before his trial. In Southeast Portland, Thomas Schultz, KGW News.
In Washington, Governor Jay Inslee issued a new directive today that specifically adds abortion services to an existing state law that requires access to emergency medical treatment. This means hospitals have to treat patients who may need medically necessary abortions as a complication of pregnancy or labor. It also comes as the U.S. Supreme Court prepares to release decisions on several abortion cases, including one out of Idaho and another dealing with access to the abortion pill mifepristone. That's roughly 2 years after it overturned Roe v. Wade. Meanwhile, Washington is launching a new youth helpline focused on mental wellness. It is called Hear Me WA, that is W-A as in Washington. It provides 24/7 access to crisis counselors and support services. The goal is to address everything from bullying to threats of violence, social pressures, even suicidal thoughts. Attorney General Bob Ferguson says it is a first of its kind system.
Finding help is not always easy, especially for young people. Especially for young people in rural areas, for example. Whether the issue is bullying, social pressure, suicidal thoughts, substance abuse, or even threats of violence, Hear Me WA can help direct youth to the right place.
Well, the helpline is available through call, text, online, or the app Hear Me WA. We have an update tonight on the Gresham firefighter who suffered severe burns after he ran into a burning home to search for a teenager he thought was inside. Daisy Caballero talked with the fire chief about what seems to be a long road ahead.
But this is certainly an outlier in my career and in the firefighting community.
Gresham Fire Chief Scott Lewis is recalling what he now considers the worst firefighter injury he's seen in his 40-plus year career.
Firefighter Spencer Tejadas is still in critical condition at Legacy Emmanuel Hospital.
Chief Lewis says Spencer suffered burns to 45% of his body after running into this burning home in Gresham back on May 30th. Since then, he's been intubated and has undergone 3 surgeries on his burns, including skin grafts.
We had what's called a flashover, where everything in the structure catches on fire all at one time, and Spencer was still inside, as were other firefighters when that happened.
At this time, Chief Lewis says 3 firefighters were injured while searching for a teen with disabilities who may have been inside, which is when Spencer and the 2 other firefighters jumped into action, all to find out no one was home. Chief Lewis believes Spencer's skin was burnt from the heat around him and not directly from the flames. Now the department is looking into what exactly took place and ways they can prevent this from happening in the future.
You know there's risk. We try to mitigate the risk as much as we can. We buy the very best fire protective clothing for our firefighters that's available on the market. And sometimes even the best isn't good enough.
And while Spencer's firefighter family continues to show support any way they can, Chief Lewis has this message to him and his family.
Take care of yourself, brother. We're here for you. We're here for his family. We've reached out. We're there every day. We're always a phone call away. We have a responsibility to support Spencer in his recovery and to support his family at this time as well.
Yeah, Daisy Caballero reporting there. It turns out the cause of the fire was a candle. By the way, if you'd like to write a letter of encouragement to Tejadas family, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. Chief Lewis said you can drop them off at Gresham Station 71 or you can mail it there. The address is 1333 Northwest Eastman Parkway. Straight ahead tonight at 11, the sculptures some say have no business being on the streets of Chinatown. Plus, a Vancouver educator who says he went in for routine surgery, then left in a coma, finally gets a warm welcome home.
And we had a warm day today and even warmer days coming up tomorrow and on Thursday. It's cooling off, a little bit chilly out there tonight at 56 degrees. But after those sunny warm days, we've got to contend with weekend rain, and we'll talk about Father's Day.